in a row came into the jury house. Were you at all surprised that Keisha came in before Jerry?
I will say that I was surprised that Keisha came in before Jerry.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I wasn't was because I knew that the boys wanted to break it down before and that Keisha would be a bigger threat than Jerry. So I was surprised because I felt like that they probably felt like they owed her something. But then I had to kind of think about how they did me. They didn't know me the week I left. So I thought, well, it's not too far-fetched, but I don't know. My bet was really on the fact that Jerry would be walking in. And so when Keisha came in, I was like, whoa, they're really seriously playing. And I knew they were going to leave, I ain't trying to be funny, old man Jerry in there because guess what? At the end of the day, if there's a competition that has to deal with, having to do endurance or what have you, they could do Jerry in hands down. So that's kind of how I missed that one. I mean, at the beginning, I thought, well, they have some sense of loyalty to Keisha, but then it made more sense. They could slaughter Jerry,
That's why, that's why Keisha was so upset, when she was surprised that they did it, because she didn't see it coming.
Yeah, how was she when she came? Like, she was on the show, but I don't really know if we talked to her about, well, I'm sure we talked to her about what she felt was the betrayal with Dan and Memphis, but we didn't really know how she was when she got to the jury house. Maybe you guys can tell us a little bit about that.
She was cool. She like okay, but she was pissed at Memphis more than anything.
Right. She was really hurt at Memphis, and for me, I was still kind of like, I can't believe he did me like that. I really, me and Keisha talked to this day, but I was really hurt by that because, I just felt like I had something, a connection, something with Keisha, at least to hold me down. And so when I started to see how she did me that last week out of the house, I felt bad for her, but guess what? I felt bad for myself as I was walking out the door, too. So I knew that she was hurt, and, I knew she probably had similar feelings like I had when I left the house and came in to sequester, because it's a mind, my God, you're constantly, it's like being on being in a state of paranoia and constantly on 24/7 because you don't know what's coming at you. You don't know. You can be in the kitchen toodly-doodly doing, and somebody could have just made up whatever they wanted to, like the banner.
That's what I was telling you, earlier in the week. I literally lost my mind in that game. I couldn't even trust. Well, I didn't know what to believe. I'm up here saying, oh, Dan's a plant. He's doing this and that. And Monica's not Monica. That's his sister, this and that. I literally, I came and watched that stuff because it's like, man, what is going on in my head right there? I can't even tell you. I lost my mind, literally. It's to the point I couldn't believe anything in the house. Nothing.
And people coming in to sequester, guess what? Monica, and I'm like, oh,
we were literally crazy.
You didn't have, you hadn't seen the outside world. You're sitting in Malibu. Okay, great, it's a mansion, and you're chilling. But at the same time, you can only watch however many, DVDs, CDs, or whatever, of the Tudors.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
24 and whatever else. And then when people come in and they're like, man, yeah, we saw Monica. And we're like, what? Yeah, she was, what? And so you're like,
we literally lost our minds, y'all. I'm telling you. It literally lost our minds. We didn't.
The world was an oyster. You can make up anything in that house.
No, seriously, we didn't even believe that the earthquake was real. Well, at least I didn't. That tells you how crazy, I was at that point in time. My mind was really lost.
I was like, oh no, tornadoes and hurricanes are bigger than this. And needless to say, Hurricane Ike hit my family home, and everybody was like all displaced. And I'm up here going, that's not an earthquake.
Oh man, it's crazy, man. You
guys literally thought that they could shake the Big Brother house.
Right, that's how crazy you are. You're thinking.
That tells you we didn't have any kind of frame of mind at the time. At that point, I wouldn't even believe a raindrop coming out of the sky. I would think Big Brother would have put some rain on the backyard.
Because you have to remember, we're on a studio lot, right? And when you go to Big Brother, and you are going into the house, it's all a set. So you're thinking, is this on like trailers, and are they like shaking it? Is this and that going on?
Seriously, it sounds funny, but it's true, man. We're literally to the point where, even our season, we're the season and we didn't have any twists, okay? So we're like, man, the twist hasn't came already, so when is it coming? We were expecting the twist to come like any day.
Right.
And we were expecting it to come anytime soon, but it never came, and we were just all paranoid over and over day after day.
We were like, oh, that's a twist. Look at that plant. They moved that plant over there. And it's sitting in that corner over there. That's a twist. We need to count the leaves on that plant and find out what the twist is. I mean, it was just craziness.
Well, what was funny about, not that an earthquake is funny, obviously, but is that our local news or something, I was watching the news that night, and Big Brother and Judge Judy made the news because apparently they were filming Judge Judy when the earthquake happened as well, and they caught that all on film. Yeah, so they were saying excitement in the Big Brother house and on the set of Judge Judy, and how you feel affected by the earthquake. But, of course, you're not on the outside. You don't know that that's really happening.
Yeah, man. And not to even, to add on to that, we had a competition not even 3 days after the earthquake about, hang tough when we're hanging from the building that's shaking. And it had an earthquake theme to that HOH competition. So we said, oh, this is all making sense now. That was a big earthquake.
We're living on the edge.
This is a subliminal message. Oh, gee golly.
And that's the thing.
We're losing our minds, man.
You're really in there, and you're like, nothing to do. And that's why they take away all of your conveniences. All the Internet, all of that stuff is gone for a reason. They want you to literally go out of your mind. And
that's what makes the show successful. That's why it's been going on 10 seasons strong, because it's good TV. You got people trapped in the house, and you got people who are watching us 24/7, laughing at every single move, everything we say, and that's what makes it successful. That's why I don't see why would Big Brother change up a theme? I mean, it's a product that's already been successful. Why change it up? Why change up the rules of the game?
Format. I don't see that.
Why do that? It's already been successful for 10 seasons. Why wouldn't it be successful for 11 seasons? So I say keep everything the same the way it is and just ride it out.
Well, I do know this. After the show, you come home, you're thinking, well, even going in the sequester, I don't think I did anything too terribly wrong, or I don't think that I was perceived like, this or that. And then you get out of the show, and you're like, what? What? And then you go on YouTube, and you're like, he said that.
That conversation didn't go like that. I didn't say that right there.
Exactly. You're like, no. I was in the spa, and then they took that clip over there, and they voiced over that, because, my head is turned. So there are some things that I'm like, oh, no, they got me. And I have to commend the producers and the editors and whomever else, because, they got to make it salacious. They've got to make it,
it's Hollywood.
And reality TV, for the most part, yes, some of the things that happen in the house happen. No one's taking that away. But to make it a little more juicier, you can see, I'm not wearing that shirt. It's a different day. You're like, what? But it's just the way it goes. And, like the new cast members, the only thing I can tell them is be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Like that song.
That's all.
Thing. Every time I hear that song, I start to, get tight in the neck. You know what I mean? Because that's like the theme song to this experience for me. When I grow up, I want to be famous, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And you don't realize, how
let me tell y'all.
Out there.
Let me tell y'all the process before we get in the house. We're for the finals, and we're sitting there taking all these exams, taking all these, tests and physical exams and all that stuff. And the final thing that we have, we sit down with a psychologist. I'm like, man, what is this for? And it makes more sense now,
right.
After the fact, after you get out of the house. But you're not all the stuff that we did, it makes sense now. It went to the written exams, the physical exams, all that stuff makes sense now, to the point where they're trying to figure out what kind of person you are. They know more about us than we probably know about ourselves before we even move into the house. And when we talk to the psychologist, they want to make sure, if we're in a good mental state before we leave the house, and they're one of the first people we talk to after we leave the house, just to make sure we're okay mentally and we're okay, on a mental state. So, what's her name? Dr. Zachary, is that her name? She came up and talked to us.
Dr. Zach.
Honey,
I don't know how many times I've talked to Dr. Zach.
Dr. Zachary, she made sure that we was good. But I'm like, okay, this makes more sense now. I see why you asked me those questions before I went in the house. Because right now, if you let me out in the real world, I probably would go to jail right now. So you just safe right now. You put me in.
And they put you through this rigorous psychological, testing. They make you take all of these other exams, when you're working at the grocery store, would you steal from the cash register? And then 5 questions later, they ask you if money was sitting in the cash register, would you take it? Kind of those types of things. It's